Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakhaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadkamlam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Satam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सागणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारणे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं कृष्णचैतन्य ईश्वरं गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरि बोल। So we were talking about Lord Gauranga in last class. I hope everybody was able to hear the class. I had a mind to just quickly recap the class, but we don't have time now. So just in few lines, we talked about why Mahaprabhu comes. We talked about who he is, that he is none other than Krishna himself, right? He wanted to, he appeared as a devotee because he wanted to understand the mood of a devotee, the highest devotee, Radharani. And he came to inaugurate the Yug Dharma. He came to establish Dharma, right? He always comes to establish Dharma. And he responded to the call of his pure devotees, like Advaita Acharya called him and he came. So, and we talked about various incarnations of the Lord, why they come, how they keep coming. They're like waves in the sea. Different yugas come, different incarnations, and they have different purpose. And they give the Yug Dharma according to the time, place, circumstance for that yuga. What is the, in that particular yuga, what is the best thing that will work for these people, right? What is their consciousness? So we established that in Kali Yuga, our consciousness is very low. We are very, very lazy. We are full of conflict, hypocritical, always quarrelsome, and very poor intelligence. So that's why he gave chanting of the holy names, the very easy process to go back to Godhead, right? So this all we discussed last time. So today, this is just very briefly, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is the main literature that we follow to understand the Mahaprabhu's pastimes, there are two main reasons given for Lord's appearance. One is called external reasons, and the other is called internal reasons. Okay. So internal reasons mean what is the Lord's heart? What is the Lord's desire internally? Why does he come? He has his own agenda that may not be very revealed to us, that may not be very apparent to us, right? It may be a confidential matter that only Lord knows and his intimate associates know. Okay? Those are called internal reasons why Lord appears. Typically, those reasons correlate with his exchange with devotees because he wants to exchange certain rasas, certain moods with the devotees. Because annihilation of demons, anybody can do, right? Paritranay sadhunam is what he mainly comes for, right? He wants to exchange various moods and bhavs with his devotees, with his pure devotees. So those are called internal reasons. External reasons are the ones that are apparent to us, that we see Lord doing. For example, when Krishna comes, we see that he gave Bhagavad Gita. We see that he killed so many demons. Even as a child, he was killing demons, right? we see that he lifts up Govardhan and he establishes the worship of Govardhan, that Govardhan is non-different from him, right? That it is very dear to Radharani. He establishes all these things. He shows how his devotees, like Pandavas, are so dear to him. He establishes their supremacy, right? He at each turn he protects them, whether it's Mother Draupadi being insulted in the Sabha, he protected her. Whether it's Durvasa Muni trying to torment the Pandavas in the jungle, he protects them. Whether it's Arjun in the fight, so many times. Whether it's Bhima fighting with Duryodhan, right? Whether it's Bhima fighting with Jarasandh, so many times he shows that, look, yes, I say I'm impartial. I'm not, nobody's my favorite. All living beings are my children. He says that, but then he also shows favor to his devotees, right? Because he shows that if you are surrendered to me, if you follow those 6 symptoms of surrender, where you accept me as your only Lord, you accept me as your only protector, proprietor, maintainer, then I will reciprocate accordingly. You, take my shelter, then I'll give you shelter. The envious people like Duryodhan, Kamsa, they're not taking my shelter, so I will not give them shelter. So he's not really favoring the devotees. He's just reciprocating with the devotees, with the people according to their mood. Kamsa wants to fight with Krishna, so Krishna will reciprocate by fighting, right? Arjuna wants to surrender to him, so Krishna reciprocates by reciting Bhagavad Gita. Mother Draupadi lifts her hands in surrender, so he comes and protects her. So like that, he reciprocates to each devotee in a very personal manner according to their desires. So those reasons are apparent to us, right? Those are called external reasons that are apparent to the whole world. So what are the external reasons for the appearance of Gauranga? Internal reasons, can one of the devotees very quickly tell me the internal reasons, Lord's confidential reasons? Like in 2-3 lines, just tell me the reasons for Lord's, like internal reasons. Yes, Vedai.
He wanted to know the mood of Radharani's devotion.
Very bold, yes. Number 1, he wanted to appreciate Radharani's mood. What is her love? What is this she tastes in me? What is this bhav she has? I want to understand Gopi bhav. I want to understand Radha bhav, right? The bhav of my supreme devotee. Perfect. What else? This is all related to Radharani, right? So what is the second bhav? What is the second reason? He wants to relish that bliss that she enjoys when she is reciprocating with him, to enjoy this bliss that is tasted by Radharani. And the third is, what does she enjoy? What does she see in him? What is this transcendental mellow of himself, of his own sweetness that she enjoys? I want to taste that. जैसे कि sugar cube wants to understand what this ant tastes in me. Why does she keep licking me? What is this sweetness that I have? Sugar cube does not know its own sweetness, so it wants to become the ant to be able to taste that sweetness. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes in the mood of Radharani to understand the mood of the highest devotee, which is Radharani, but also any devotee. What are these devotees relishing? Why they chant my names? Why do they attend Harikatha? Why are all these 10 people sitting on a Sunday morning, beautiful Sunday morning, listening to this Harikatha, Gaur Katha, Ram Katha? Why are they doing this? What nectar are they getting in listening to my pastimes? What nectar are they getting in chanting my names? What nectar do they get when they stand in front of my Vigraha and offer me the flowers and the lamp and the dhoop? What is this that they taste? What is this that they enjoy? Why do gopis cry in my separation? Why is Radha lamenting so much when I leave Vrindavan? What is this mood, this bhav, this sweetness? I want to taste this nectar. So when uh, Krishna comes in this mood of Radharani, he's called Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he comes in Kali Yuga, he came 500 years back in the mood of Radharani to not only taste this sweetness himself, but also to give this sweetness to the whole world. I'll spread this sweet. This is so sweet. This nectar of holy names, this nectar of Hari Katha, this mood of surrendering to the Lord is so sweet. I want to spread this to the whole world. So these external reasons of Lord Gauranga's appearance, they are mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela chapter 3. Whoever wants to read this chapter, you can sit in one sitting and read the whole chapter. Chapter 3 Adi Leela. If you feel inspired, please read. So this is what Krishna thought. Krishna is sitting in his dham and he's thinking, चिरा काला नहीं करा प्रेम भक्ति दान भक्ति बिना जग तेरा नहीं नहीं अवस्थान. For a long time I have not bestowed unalloyed loving service to me upon the inhabitants of the world. Without such loving attachment, the existence of the material world is useless. He's thinking that I gave the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, but I did not give my love. I hid in the chapter 9 and 10 of Bhagavad Gita, I hid the jewel of my love very carefully within the chapters, right? But that Bhagavad Gita is hard to understand. It's so much philosophy. And people in this Kali Yuga are not able to understand so much philosophy. So I need to go and give the love of Krishna, love of this God, this Krishna Prema directly to people. They're not going to read philosophy. They're not going to read chapter 9. They will probably give up at chapter 1 and 2 of Bhagavad Gita. I need to go and give this love myself. It has been a long time since I bestowed unalloyed loving service. And there is no bliss in this world. This world is dukhalema shashvatam, one misery after another. कभी बॉडी की मिजरी, कभी कम्युनिटी में कोई प्रॉब्लम, कभी फैमिली में कोई प्रॉब्लम, कभी रिलेशनशिप्स आर टॉर्मेंटिंग यू, कभी somebody else is disappointing you, frustrating you, कभी profession is disappointing you. So many things are going on. People are just miserable. And if not everything is going right, people are suffering from their own anarthas, their own anger, their own ego, their own pride, right? So this material world is useless place. I need to add some prema to this place. Then he thought, सकल जगते मोरा करे विधि भक्ति व्रजा भावा पाइते नहीं शक्ति. मैंने तो व्रज भाव एक्सपीरियंस किया है. I have experienced the mood of gopis, mood of Radha Rani. Vraj bhav is so high and people are just doing my vidhi bhakti. They are just doing some rules and regulations कि दिन में इतनी बार जाकर जिस डीटी के सामने खड़े हो जाएंगे. They will ask for certain wishes, certain desires. Or they will just go out of fear to the temple, out of duty to the temple. They'll go out to the temple to just fulfill some desires. But nobody's going for love. सब लोगों को ये पड़ा है मुझे ये दो, ये दे दो, वो दे दो, या और भगवान ने हमें इतना दिया है, एक कोकोनट तो चढ़ा ही सकते हैं, इतना दान तो कर ही सकते हैं टेम्पल में. या फिर कहीं अगर मैंने भगवान के मंदिर नहीं गई तो भगवान मेरा ये छीन तो नहीं लेंगे. So out of fear, out of desires, out of duty, people are approaching me. But nobody is approaching me out of love. So he said, everywhere in the world, people worship me according to scriptural injunctions. But simply by following such regulative principles, one cannot attain the loving sentiments of the devotees in Vraj Bhumi. So Mahaprabhu came to give Vraj Bhav. He came to give Gopi Bhav. He came to give this highest mood, जिसमें scriptural injunctions भूल जाते हैं, जिसमें कृष्णा को गोपास are pulling out of the bed कि अरे कान्हा हमारे साथ खेलने चल, तू खेलने क्यों नहीं चलता. जिसमें Balram is tormenting Krishna that you're not really son of Yashoda and Nand Maharaj, you must be adopted. He's teasing him, and then they defeat him in tug of war. This Param Parmeshwar Paramatma, who's all strength, all full of all opulences, he's carrying the whole world. They defeat him in a simple tug of war, just these small gopas, right? So they don't follow any scriptural injunctions, right? Those Dvij Patnis, Brahmana's wives, they were not following any scriptural injunctions, whereas their husbands, Brahmans, were doing all these yagyas and they ignored Krishna. What is the use of such bhakti, such devotion? You do all these yagyas, you do all these, mundane principles of scriptures that you're following, but you have no love for the Lord. But which Patnis Krishna reciprocated with? With them, he fulfilled all their wishes, gave them mercy. Brahmanas, he's like, oh, these are not really my devotees. They're just some karmkandi people that are just doing some things out of duty and desires. Then he said, Yuga Dharma Parvartina Nama Sankirtana Chadi Bhava Bhakti Diya Na Chamu Bhuvana. I shall personally inaugurate the religion of this age, Nam Sankirtan, the congregational chanting of the holy names. I shall make the world dance in ecstasy, realizing the four mellows of loving devotional service. तो कृष्णा ने कहा कि मैं अपना नाम establish करूंगा, नाम संकीर्तन. This is the Yug Dharma. I will inaugurate this religion for this Kali Yuga, the congregational chanting of the holy names, and everybody will dance to my names in the Prem Ram Kirtan on the road. The Nagar Kirtans will be held. The Sankirtans will be held. People will be chanting my names every day in ecstasy. And realizing the four mellows of loving devotional service. Four mellows meaning Dasya Bhav, Vatsalya Bhav, Madhurya Bhav, Sakhya Bhav, like that. I'll pause here. Let's see if anybody has any doubts or questions or any thing they want to share before we move on. I'm seeing okay. Any questions? Either you understood everything or didn't understand anything. Which one it is? Okay, so we'll keep moving. So this is still the external reasons of the Lord's appearance. So last thing is, these are the three reasons, right? So he has come to establish Yug Dharma. We know that in this Yuga, chanting of the holy names is the prescribed religion. Kali Kale Nam Rupe Krishna Avatara Namak Haite Haya Sarva Jagat Nistara. And remember, Hare Nam eva kevalam kalau nasti eva gatiranyatha. Hare Nam is the only shelter for us. Hare Nam eva kevalam kalau means Kali Yuga mein nasti eva gatiranyatha. There is no gati, there is no other path for us, there is no other dharma for us, there is no other shelter for us but Harinam. So Kali Yuga, only thing that can deliver us and take us back to the Lord is Harinam. In chapter 10 Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yagya naam japa yagyo asmi. Ki yagyo mein main japa yagya hu. So that is main purpose why Krishna came as Mahaprabhu, to establish the Yug Dharma, chanting of the holy names. And not only establish Yug Dharma, he gave Krishna Prem to the masses. Krishna Prem was very confidential matter in Dwapar Yug, right? People could only approach Krishna through the deities. Deity worship was prime. But then in Kali Yuga, he gave Krishna Prem to the masses. Ki koi qualification nahi dekhi. He did not look at patra, yogya, ayogya. Patra, vichara nahi, nahi sthana, sthan. Doesn't matter. Time theek hai ya nahi, place theek hai ya nahi. Person is qualified or not. They may be anybody. They may not be literate. They may not be rich. They may be very, downtrodden, whatever. Any caste, whether it's Brahman, Vaishya, Shudra, anybody, Shudra, anybody. He gave Krishna Prema to the masses, whether they are meat eaters, whether they drink alcohol, whether they, into any amount of sense gratification, he gave it to the masses, Krishna Prema to everybody. And this was his instruction to his associates like Haridas Thakur, Nityanand Prabhu, that go give Harinam door to door, right? Spread chanting of the holy names door to door. And then this is the best thing to understand, which we have not discussed very much, but I really want to hit this point on the head here. He came to give bhakti of Shyam Sundar in the mood of gopis and to establish Srimad Bhagavatam as the topmost Vedic literature. So we will take this verse sometime. I'll take this verse in detail. This is a very beautiful verse, which is said in regards to Mahaprabhu's appearance. So we are not worshipping Krishna as Vishnu. We are not worshipping Krishna as Narayan. We are not worshipping Krishna in any of those four-handed forms, Chaturbhuj Roop. We are worshipping Krishna in the mood of gopis, in the mood of Braj Bhav. We are in the Braj Bhakti mood. We are in the mood of worshipping Shyam Sundar, right? The two-handed form of Krishna, who is the son of Nand Maharaj, right? So this is the verse that goes. It says, Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajes Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavana Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajvadhu Varge Nama Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Mamlam Prema Pumartho Mahan Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatra Dharana Para. What does he say? He says 5 things in this. He says, Aradhyo Bhagwan Brajes Tanyas. That our Aradhya Bhagwan, our worshipable Lord, is the Lord of Braj. Brajes Tanyas, who's the son of Nand Maharaj. And this is, so 5 cheezein, these 5 things try to remember. I'll ask at the end. Number one, who is our worshipable Lord? The son of Nan Maharaj, the Shyam Sundar form of Krishna, right? Number two, what is our pilgrimage of choice? Tad Dhama Vrindavana, jinka dham Vrindavan hai, Vrindavan dham. That is where we want to go, right? Our goal is to go serve Krishna in Vrindavan, right? Tad Dhama Vrindavana. Ramaya Kachid Upasana Vrajvadu. And what is our mood of worship? Vrajvadu. Vrajvadu matlab Vraj Gopis ki Upasana is our mood of Upasana. Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajvadu. Vargena va Kalpita. और कोई मूड नहीं है हमारा. द मूड इज नॉट ऑफ ऐश्वर्य भाव जैसे नारायण की वर्शिप होती है या जैसे डेमीगॉड्स की वर्शिप होती है. नो, आवर मूड इज ऑफ द ब्रज वधु. श्रीमद् भागवतम प्रमाणमंगलम इज द फोर्थ पॉइंट. Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost Vedic literature, and the person who's giving this to us is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu की opinion है. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu matamidam. This is his opinion. Tatra dhara na para, not of anybody else, not of any mundane ordinary person. This is the opinion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that we should worship the Lord of Vrindavan in the mood of gopis in the dham of Vrindavan and follow the injunctions of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost Vedic literature for us. So this is the instruction. This is the three reasons why he came to establish Srimad Bhagavatam as the topmost Vedic literature, to give the bhakti of Vraja, in the mood of Vraj Gopis, Vraj Vadhus, to spread Krishna Prem to the masses, and to establish the Yug Dharma. Okay. Another pause. Who would like to share some thoughts? If you're not sharing, then I'll have to pick some people to share. Let's see. Anita Mataji, would you like to share anything? Okay. Who else is available? Hema Mataji, Ravi Prabhu, would you like to share anything? What do you understand? What is your, any questions, realizations? Okay, I don't know if anybody's listening. Yes, Vedhi, please share.
Hare Krishna. I have like a realization or whatever, I guess. That, and he said, without such loving attachment, the existence of the material world is useless. So basically, if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't come to give us this bhakti path, then we would be stuck here for a very long time.
Very bold. That is a perfect realization. I can't believe this, Vedhi. Amazing. You're right. It's just by the mercy of Mahaprabhu that we are chanting the names, because otherwise, if we had to follow the path of meditation for ages, or path of austerities, go to jungle, sit in meditation, or do tapasya, stop eating, stop talking, stop drinking, all this stuff will be very, very hard. So it is just by the mercy of Mahaprabhu we have this path of Krishna consciousness. And by mercy of Prabhupada, that this path became even more well known, right? Everybody is now chanting the names. Yes, Anita Mataji, please share.
Hare Krishna Mataji, sorry, I couldn't speak at that time. Yeah, so my realization is that because of the chanting and the process given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have found anchor in our life. Like the way we are so much उसको क्या बोलते हैं, हर जगह बिखरे पड़े हुए हैं. Like we have to handle so many things in one time. अगर ऐसा एंकरिंग नहीं मिला होता तो it would have been unimaginable. Like it is very, very difficult time, in material world. Spiritual world का तो हम लोग शायद अभी उतना पहुंचे भी नहीं है. But I'm just talking in the material world perspective. It is very difficult, and day by day it is becoming more difficult. I'm not talking about rich or poor here. Like even the riches, like the way the mental problem is increasing, and like so many problems are increasing. But अगर chanting कर रहे हैं तो it is a big time support, like anchor, like I was explaining कि we found an anchor in our lives. Otherwise it would have been very difficult. to survive in this world. And I don't know what is going to happen in the coming days, coming time, if we don't take the path of bhakti. So my realization is that we have to put every attempt to make our children to adopt this path of bhakti. We have to make every attempt. Otherwise, it's not going to be easy. Day by day, it is going to be very difficult. So this is my realization, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. I think a couple other devotees want to share. Let me go a little bit forward, otherwise we'll really run out of time. If you can write your point down, and we'll take it in a few. We'll try to break up every few minutes so that you all share. So please hold on to that point and that thought for a few minutes. So thank you, Mataji, Anita Mataji, for sharing. Very nice point. Yes, we need to give it to the children because the Kali Yuga is progressing and things are deteriorating day by day. Wars, famines, natural disasters, terrorism, diseases, cancers. I mean, I can't even start listing so many things that you see every day. And bad association, so many bad habits, so much media that is polluting the world. Celebrities are nothing to look up to, right? Everything is basically contaminated. And so it's very hard unless we keep ourselves grounded. Like Mataji said, we are now bound to this process. जैसे कि एक नौका होती है वो उसके साथ bound होती है with the chain, right? So we have that chain now that we are going, we grabbed onto this rope that will get us out of this andhakoop, the blind well of material existence, and keep climbing up that rope to get out of this well, and take all your companions, all your friends, your well-wishers, your relationships with you, anybody that you can influence, get them out of this material existence, because it will get worse. And the way we are progressing right now, we may take birth in a different species, low species. Next time, one might come back as a pig, as a dog, as a cockroach, or go in a lower planet, and then we'll be stuck again. Life after life, species after species, planet after planet. And now we have association of Bhagavad Gita, association of devotees. Latch onto it hard, understand the importance of what we have gotten, and value it, and get out of here with your companions. So this is the only solace, Hare Nameva Kevalam. And Bhagavatam says, Nam Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Abhinnatvan Nama Namina. That it is Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta. And Bhagavatam says this, Nama Chintamani Krishna. Ki Krishna ka naam is Chintamani. It will fulfill all your desires. And we have only one desire, to serve the Lord. And Abhinnatvan Nama Namina. कि नाम और नामी में कोई अंतर नहीं है. When you're chanting the names of the Lord, you're associating with the Lord. It's पूर्ण शुद्धो. It's always pure. So you don't have to worry कि मैं दिन में करूं chanting, रात में करूं, कौन से स्थान पे करूं, यहाँ पे कूड़ा पड़ा है तो यहाँ नहीं कर सकते, प्योर जगह पे बैठ के करना. None of that matters. The name is so purifying that it will purify everything, right? Pavanam pavanebhyopi mangalebhyopi mangalam, right? So that is the name of Krishna. It will purify everything. Just chant his names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Just with all intensity, thinking of each syllable, thinking of Krishna, chant those names. Let's cover the instructions, then we'll take more realizations from people. So instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this instruction, I have taken 5 instructions. There are many. 5 that I've, basically 5 categories that I've grouped into. One is, he instructed that we should be in the mood of servant of the Lord. So this beautiful verse comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that is the mood of Mahaprabhu. What did he say? What did Mahaprabhu say? He said, Naham Vipro, Nacha Narpatir, Napi Vaishyo na Shudro, Naham Varni, Nacha Grihapatir, No Vanasto Yatirva, Kintu Prodhyam, Nikhila Parma, Nanda Purna Mritabdher. Now this line, Gopi Bhartur, Pad Kamaleor, Dasa Dasanudasa. This is Mahaprabhu's mood. And what is he saying in this verse? He's saying, Naham Vipro, I'm not a Brahman. Nacha Narpatir, I'm not a king, or Narpati matlab king or Kshatriya, ruler. Napi Vaishyo, na main Vaishya hu, like a businessman. Not a Shudra, not like a manual laborer. ना हम वर्णी, ना तो मैं किसी वर्णा को बिलोंग करता हूँ, ब्रह्मचारी हो गया, गृहस्थ, वानप्रस्थ, सन्यासी, नो, ना हम गृहपति, ना मैं लॉर्ड ऑफ माय हाउस हूँ, किंतु प्रोद्यम निखिला परमानंद, मैं क्या हूँ? आई एम जस्ट अ सर्वेंट ऑफ द लोटस फीट ऑफ लॉर्ड श्री कृष्णा, हु इज द Gopi Bhartu, who is the maintainer of the gopis. Pad Kamleor, I am just the servant of the lotus feet of the Lord. Das Das Anudasa. Gopi Bhartu Pad Kamleor Das Das Anudasa. He gave us, Mahaprabhu gave us this instruction that in this mood we approach the Vaishnavas and the Guru, that we are just the servant of the Lord. A very beautiful saying that is said by Kabir, who is another devotee of Krishna. He says, गुरु गोविंद दोनों खड़े काके लागू पाए, बलिहारी गुरु आपनो गोविंद दियो मिलाए. कि Guru and Ishwar both are standing, Govind and Guru both are standing. Who should I bow down to? So he says, you bow down to the lotus feet of the Guru. Why? Because बिना गुरु की शिक्षा के भगवान के दर्शन नहीं होते. So Guru can give you Krishna. So similarly, devotees, Vaishnavas, Gurus, they can give us Krishna. So we are always in the mood of servant, of the servant of the Lord. And this mood is not easy. It's not easy to attain at all. We have to really try. We have to really practice hard to cultivate this mood. It requires a lot of humility. It requires killing of the false ego and pride that we have. It requires killing of many anarthas before we can submit. Because Jiva ki nature hai to be rebellious, to try to become the Lord. But we are not a Lord. We are just the servant of the Lord. So in that mood, and Guru that you're serving, Guru is also in that mood that I'm just a servant of the Lord. So you're just serving the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. जितना सर्विट्यूड है, जैसे मटेरियल वर्ल्ड में जो जितना बड़ा लॉर्ड होता है, जितनी ऊपर पोजीशन पे होता है, ही इज ग्लोरिफाइड द मोस्ट. इन द स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड जो जितना नीचे होता है, जितना दीनहीन होता है, जितना सर्विट्यूड में, जितना जो ज्यादा सर्वेंट है, जिसके ऊपर जितने मास्टर्स हैं, वो सबसे सुप्रीम होता है. सो सबसे लोली सर्वेंट सबसे सुप्रीम होता है. इसीलिए when Hema Mataji was sharing about the Sohini Seva that she's doing, we were saying that your service is the best, because that is, you are really the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. So this is the mood that Mahaprabhu gave us. And Krishna also says to Arjuna in Adi Puran, he says, Krishna bolte hain Arjun ko, ये मे भक्ता जना पार्था ना मे भक्ताश्च ते जना मद भक्ता नाम च ये भक्तास ते मे भक्ता तमामता. He said, those who are my direct devotees are actually not my devotees, but those who are the devotees of my servant are my devotees. So Krishna ko bhi nahi pasand that you approach him directly, right? So we approach him through the servant of his or his disciples, his devotees. Then the second instruction that I have taken is from Mahaprabhu's many instructions. The second one that I have taken is instructions to 6 Goswamis. So you know that there are 6 Goswamis, right? Unko sabko, 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan ko, Krishna gave a common instruction. Okay, it is written in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna Bhakti, Krishna Prema, Seva Pravartan, Lupta Tirtha Uddhara Ara, Vairagya Shikshan. So look at this verse, very nice verse. He said, Krishna Bhakti, you will establish the Krishna Bhakti all over the world. Krishna Prema Seva, Seva Pravartan, that you will establish the temples or the places of pilgrimages or places of Lord's pastimes. Look, the Tirtha Uddhara. The Tirtha, the pilgrimages that have disappeared, you will establish them again. Okay, look, the Tirtha. So Vrindavan, everything that we see today in Vrindavan is the mercy of these Goswamis. These 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan have established all the temples, right? Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Gopinath, Radha Govind. ये सारे temples जो हैं, the 7 main temples that we visit when we go to Vrindavan, they are the mercy of these 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. तो वहाँ पे उनके worshipable deities हैं. So you will establish temples. You will find the hidden places of pastimes of the Lord that have become looped during time. With the influence of time, things deteriorate. So those places of Krishna and Radharani's pastimes have become looped. You will explore them and find them again. That's why we have so many ghats, right? So many kundas, and everything is now revealed again to us by the mercy of these 6 Goswamis. Then he says, Ara Vairagya Shikshan, you will teach the Vaishnav etiquette and conduct for a Vairagya or a detached person like a sannyasi. You will teach the proper etiquettes of Vaishnavas and conduct of sannyas ashram. So there are these four main instructions. You can say three main instructions. Establish Krishna Bhakti. Okay. So Krishna Bhakti kaise establish hogi? Krishna Prema Seva Pravartan. You will write literature. So he told them to write literatures on Krishna Bhakti and Krishna Prem. So the Goswami literature, we will, I don't think I will ever be able to reach to that level where I can read Goswami literature because I'm still struggling to read just Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. But this is what Prabhupada instructed us to read. So we are, sticking with this, but very elevated advanced devotees read Goswami literature. So the literature of Goswamis is what Prabhupada has taken to translate his books. He has given purports based on those literatures. Jeev Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, all their, Rup Goswami, Updeshamrita, and Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, he has taken from Rup Goswami. Like that, he has given purports from those literatures. So Mahaprabhu instructed them to write many literature on Krishna Bhakti. He told them to explore the places of Lord's pastimes and to establish proper conduct for Vaishnavas and sannyasis. So in this way, he instructed 6 Goswamis. Actually, Chaitanya Charitamrita describes all the instructions in detail, and Mahaprabhu spoke to Rup Goswami on the Dashwamed Ghat in Prayag for 10 days. For 10 days continuously, he gave instructions to Rup Goswami. For Sanatan Goswami, he spent 2 months in Varanasi, giving him instructions. And if you read Sanatan Goswami's conversation with Mahaprabhu, very, very nice. He starts with the first question, who am I? Who is the Lord? And what is my relationship with the Lord? The first question that we should always ask in this human life, the questions of self-realization. So that he asked. The third instruction, this is very important. We have taken this before also. This is an instruction given to Sanatan Goswami. Mahaprabhu says, Jive daya naam ruchi Vaishnava sevan, iha chadi dharma nahi, suno Sanatan. Jive daya naam ruchi. Jive daya matlab kindness to all living beings. Naam ruchi, taste for the holy names. Vaishnav sevan, service to Vaishnavas. Iha chadi dharma nahi. Other than this, there is no other dharma. So we have to do these 3 things. We have to show kindness to living entities, Jive Daya, right? We were reading about charity in chapter 17. That is Jive Daya. You don't kill any living entity. You protect the living entities. You do them the highest charity by telling them this knowledge of Krishna, right? You develop the taste for holy names by daily practicing the chanting of holy names. Eventually, we will develop the taste and do the seva of the Vaishnava in the mood of the servant. And beside these 3, there is no other dharma, Sunu Sanatan. So since he is the establisher of Yug Dharma, this is the dharma he is established. So he says, right, Krishnera samsar kori chadi anachar, jibe daya Krishna naam sarva dharma sar, right? कि कृष्णेरा संसार, कृष्णा के संसार में रहो, करी अनाचार, छड़ी अनाचार, करी सदाचार, right? You do the sadachar, properly follow the Vaishnav conduct, and जीवे दया कृष्ण नाम सर्व धर्मसार. जीवे दया and Krishna naam and proper Vaishnavachar is the sarva dharmasar. So that another instruction he gave. Then this is most important for us. The Shikshashtakam prayer that we should actually by heart and recite them daily if we can. If you are willing, we can take a pause here and quickly recite these prayers. Or would you? Yes, somebody speaking?
Sorry, Mataji, that was a third actually. ऐसे ही बोल रहा था कुछ. Sorry.
Shall we recite them at the end? Actually, let's recite them at the end. This will establish our perfect mood for Gauranga Mahima. And then there are these details of Shikshashtakam. Who knows about these prayers? Anybody? I want to just understand. Anybody has heard about Shikshashtakam prayers before, has recited them before, or has memorized any of these or all of these? Please tell me, share something. Yes, Vadi.
In the Shubhalas Prabhuji's class, I think we did the Trinadapi Sunichena one.
Okay. Yes. Yes, that's the most famous one and probably the smallest, shortest one verse. That is the core principle actually. Would you like, do you know that verse? Would you like to recite?
Sure, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Trinat api sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina mahat
Mandena.
kirtaniya sadahari.
Yes. Can you tell me what is the meaning? Like briefly. So
One should be even more humble than a blade of a grass and should follow the orders of the Guru.
Trinadapi sunichena, yeah, more humble than the blade. So Trinad मतलब तिनके से भी ज्यादा humble. जैसे blade of grass कैसे bend हो जाता है, if you step on it, it bends because it is so humble. तरोरपि सहिष्णुना. तरो मतलब tree. Tree से भी ज्यादा सहिष्णुना मतलब tolerant, more tolerant than the trunk of a tree. So you should be more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a trunk of tree. And in that mood, Kirtaniya Sadahari, right? So in that mood, always chant the names of Hari. Amanina manden. Aman, give all respect to others and expecting no respect for oneself. So amanina मतलब कि जो खुद के लिए कोई मान नहीं लेना, not expecting any मान, any respect for oneself. मान देना, दूसरों को respect देना. मान का मतलब होता है respect. So अपने लिए कोई respect नहीं, and all glories and all respects to others. Okay. And this mood is very, very difficult to achieve. So we cannot even pretend that anybody has this mood. It is very hard to achieve. Mahaprabhu displayed this mood. Mahaprabhu's character was so wonderful. You know, we should study the character of Mahaprabhu. Even though he was in, you know, the topmost, like sannyas order, he is the topmost preacher. He's the topmost, he's the best. He was the best disciple as a student. He was the best philosopher. Nobody could beat him in the knowledge of shastras. He could make verses one after another. He could, if somebody recited 100 verses, he could pick the middle verse and do shastrarth with you on that one verse. He was, you know, like a shrutidhar. Anything you say to him, it will be lodged in his memory. And he was the perfect husband, the perfect son, the perfect guru to all these disciples. He was the perfect friend to his friends. He was the perfect friend, right? And perfect sannyasi. He established the perfect sannyas order actually. So I wanted to share that pastime also. Hopefully we can get to that quickly. And he showed humility. Jab Mayavadis invited him one time, he just sat in the back and humbly heard their discourse, right? He did not say anything. He did not say anything. If anybody's blaspheming him, he'll just say, you know, people are criticizing him, he'll just humbly take it. This supreme personality of Godhead, this man, you know, he was so humble, so kind, so tolerant, right? He tolerated so much from other people. And he gave this Harinam Sankirtan, you know, mercifully to all jivas. So that is the mood. The Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sahishnuna, Mahaprabhu showed in his own character. And his associates like Haridas Thakur, Nityanand Prabhu, they all showed all these characters, all these traits, all these qualities in their personality. So we have, you know, very long way to go before we can achieve this. But this is the instruction that we should try to understand. And this is the last one that I wanted to share is distribution. So Shikshashtakam prayers we'll do at the end. Shikshashtakam is the real Shiksha, the 8 verses that Mahaprabhu has given, of which whether he recited one, we'll do all 8 at the end. And this is the last instruction that he instructed all of us to distribute Harinam. He said to spread Sankirtan movement. He said, Jare dekho tare kaho Krishna upadesh, amaragya guru haya tara e desh. That it is my order that Tara e desh, that delivered this country. It is my order. Jare dekho tare kaho Krishna upadesh, right? So spread this Sankirtan movement. And what else did he say? He said, Bharat bhumi te haila manushya janma jara janma sarthak kari kara para upakara. That you have taken birth in this Bharat bhumi. People that have taken birth in the Bharat bhumi have even more responsibility to share this knowledge with the whole world. Share the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. like Prabhupada did, right? Traveled at the age of 70 via Jaldoot, via cargo ship, to come to Western world and give this knowledge to the English-speaking countries. That is why we are sitting here discussing about Gauranga today, because he was revealed to us by Mahaprabhu through various literatures. So he said, "Amar agya guru haya tara e desh, and janam sarthak kara para upkar." That is the true charity, and make your life successful. Do the para upkar, do the proper charity. So that is why we go on these book distribution festivals, right? Monthly Sankirtan festival, which is called Brihad Mridang. Each page has Krishna's names multiple times. So if we can get these books to people's hands, to their homes, we are spreading Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. So this is Mahaprabhu's wonderful Sankirtan movement. Everybody should assist in this movement. Everybody should participate actively, aggressively in this movement. And not everybody gets this mercy. So we have this mercy that we've come in contact with Mahaprabhu's movement. We can do para upkar. Let's do the greatest mercy to the mankind, the greatest charity by spreading these instructions. Do daya to yourself, accept this in your own life, associate with devotees, and give this devotion, this association, this instruction, this teaching of Bhagavad Gita to everybody else as well. And he also said to celebrate the festivals, the holy names, do the kirtan, celebrate the Madhav Tithis, and then japa, do the japa, whether you do personal japa or you do japa in congregation as Harinam or Prem Nam Kirtan, the Sankirtan. So this is all comprise Sankirtan movement. So Sankirtan में ये सब चीजें आती हैं, congregational chanting भी आती है, personal japa जो आपकी साधना होती है, that is also part of it, and we have to do everything. Celebrating the festivals, going to the streets for kirtan, right? So anybody who's not coming to temple, who is not in touch with Krishna, they can also hear Krishna's names, right? Jagannath ji so merciful, he comes out on the street. So why can't we be merciful and go out on the streets and give this names, holy names and holy books, and participate in book distribution, the Brihad Mridanga, and spread this Sankirtan movement. This was the instruction. He said to Nityanand Prabhu, he said, "Shuno shuno Nityananda, shuno Haridas, सर्वत्र आमार आज्ञा कोरो हो प्रकाश." मेरी आज्ञा ये है कि सब जगह जाके ये नॉलेज स्प्रेड करो, प्रकाश करो. डार्कनेस में है, गिव देम द लाइट. गृहे गृहे प्रति गृहे कोरो ए भिक्षा, बोलो कृष्ण भजो कृष्ण कोरो कृष्ण शिक्षा. हर एक घर में जाओ, गृहे गृहे प्रति गृहे, in every home, and beg them to accept the holy name of Krishna. कोरो ए भिक्षा, क्या भिक्षा मांगोगे लोगों से? कि बोलो कृष्ण भजो कृष्ण कोरो कृष्ण शिक्षा, right? And Nityanand Prabhu's famous song, he says, प्रभु राग्याय भाई मांगिए भिक्षा, bolo krishna bhajo krishna koro krishna shiksha. So this is the agya, this is the instruction given by none other than Mahaprabhu himself, that Prabhu ne mujhe agya di hai, Nityanand Prabhu said, that bolo krishna bhajo krishna koro krishna shiksha. Go to each and every household and spread the holy names. And holy name wants to be shared. He's none other than Lord himself. He wants to be accepted by each and every jiva. Jivas have forgotten about him. They have turned their face away from him. So he wants to be shared. This Sri Nam Prabhu wants to be shared. So we should spread this holy name. And this is the famous verse, Kali Kale Nam Rupa Krishna Avatara, because in Kali Kal, Krishna has taken avatar in the form of name. Nama Haita Haya Sarva Jagat Nistar. In this age of Kali, holy name, Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the incarnation of Krishna. Simply by chanting the holy name, one associates with the Lord directly. And anyone who does this is certainly delivered. So without any delay, let's accept the holy name in our lives. And then once we can accept it in our lives, start spreading it to others also. And truly relish what bliss is there in the names of the Lord. And that actually attracts the mercy of Krishna, attracts the mercy of Srimati Radharani. Okay, so we have just a little bit more to go. I was going to talk very quickly about the life of Mahaprabhu, like how many years where he lived and everything. We can probably skip that. In nutshell, Mahaprabhu manifested his pastimes on this material world for 48 years. And out of those, the first 24 years was his, this is his parents, right? Chachi Mata and Jagannath Mishra. And this is his parents, this is the deity of his parents in Mayapur Dham, holding the child, Nimai. He was born under a neem tree, Nimai. It was his name as a child because he was born under neem tree. And he was born on the day of Purnima, right? Gaur Purnima, isliye Purnima bolte hain because he came in on the day of Purnima. And that day, actually, when he was born, it was eclipse, lunar eclipse, because you know that the moon of Gauranga was going to rise, so the actual moon hid itself. So lunar eclipse was then, and there was a lot of kirtan going on actually, because jab eclipse hota hai, it is it is not considered very auspicious. So people start chanting the names. They go into Ganga and they chant the names of Hari. So there was a lot of they were all crying for Hari, Hari, and they were all singing Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And in that mood, when everybody was chanting the names of Hari, Mahaprabhu appeared on that day of Purnima to Shachimata and Jagannath Mishra, and we discussed in detail all the scriptural predictions about Mahaprabhu, right? Ki kitne sare shastras in that mention, all Puranas practically mention about Mahaprabhu's appearance, and it's none other than Krishna who comes in the mood of Radharani. So Mahaprabhu was there for 48 years on this earth, and then 24 years he manifested his like Bal Leela and then Grihasthashram. Uske baad, after those 24 years, the last 24 years, he took sannyas. So at age of 24, he took sannyas and he went to reside in Jagannath Puri. So the first 24 years that Bal Leela and Grihastha Ashram, that comprises the Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Okay, so this is the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you can see, right? So Chaitanya Charitamrita में 3 लीलास होती हैं, आदि लीला, मध्य लीला, अंत्य लीला, right? आदि लीला में first 24 years of Mahaprabhu's life आते हैं. मध्य लीला में आते हैं जो last 24 years के 6 years, so 6 and 18 में break कर दो. First 6 years come in Madhya Leela. That's when Mahaprabhu did the most teachings to Goswamis, maximum instructions, maximum Harinam Kirtan. Those 6 years, the first 6 years of his sannyas ashram. The last 18 years come in the Ante Leela. Okay, and different devotees have described these. Like Adi Leela was captured in a diary by his disciple Murari Gupta. His associate Murari Gupta. And the last 24 years of Mahaprabhu's life was captured by Swarup Damodar Das, who is none other than Lalita Sakhi. Right? So in this way, all these descriptions are given in actually Chaitanya Charitamrita about Mahaprabhu's pastimes and all the leelas that he did in various times of his life. Okay, let's pause here for a few minutes before I'll take a pastime and we'll sing Shikshashtakam prayers and then we'll stop. But before that, let's see. I think, was it Hema Mataji that wanted to share?
Yes, Mataji, quickly, I wanted to just share that how, you were mentioning that Mahaprabhu has made it so accessible for everybody. And in spite of our, our previous actions, like we may be doing a lot of anarthas, sometimes, you don't feel you're qualified to even approach God and even do the prayers. Like sometimes, like doing the yagnas, we need brahmanas, and they're so difficult to be performed the right way. But the Mahamantra is so easy. Like there's no restriction, and it's so approachable and so easy. Like the process it can't be simpler than that, So I think that's the mercy that, Krishna has given us, that I've made it so simple for you that just do this much and anybody can do it anywhere. So I think I think we're lucky to have that method, where in the past I would be like, how will I do this puja? Because I don't know this, I don't know the proper mantras, I don't have the proper samagri at home. And you would just quit, because you would give up. Like it won't even be complete because I don't even know how to do it. Whereas the mantra is simple and you just have to sit down and just start saying it. So I think that's what I relish the most, and that's what has attracted me to this Hare Krishna, movement the most. Is it's simple. I can do it anytime. I can share it. I don't have to be a priest, a pandit to know it. There's no restrictions of caste, creed. Even like for women, like menstrual cycle, not having menstrual, when to do it, when not to do it. There's nothing like that. So I really I'm really happy that I chose this path, which I can do every day of my life if I want to. And I hope I can do it every day.
Very bold. Thank you, Mata. This is a perfect summary. Perfect summary. Yeah, wonderful. Yes, that is Harinam, very simple. Just sit, chant, focus on the names, serve the Vaishnavas, eat prasadam. Very, very easy path that has been given to us. And Mahaprabhu said, and Bhagavatam said that intelligent people will take to this path. So actually, this is the unintelligent people will not take. Because they're still stuck in all that demigod worship. Their desires should be fulfilled, like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. But intelligent people will take to the path of congregational chanting, because नाक को ऐसे क्यों पकड़ना है जब ऐसे पकड़ सकते हो? तो जब आपको एलिवेटर मिल रहा है तो आपको स्टेयर से क्यों जाना है? So elevator में जाओ. So this is the elevator. So Mahaprabhu made it so simple. Why are you dilly-dallying? Why are you wasting your time in this material world? Take the elevator and come back to me. This is the easiest thing I've given you. So it's high time that we all wake up and just start chanting. Right? Jiva jago, Kara Chandra bole, Kota nedra jao maya, Pishachi rakhole. He says, wake up sleeping souls, Gaur Chandra bole. How long will you sleep in the lap of this witch called Maya? Right? So we're just sleeping in the lap of this witch called Maya. The hardest thing is to get rid of these sense gratification and attractions to this material world, the desires of this material world. That is the hardest thing. But holy name changes our taste. It changes our taste from this material world to that of the spiritual world. So we have taste for Hari Katha. We have taste to learn about the associates of the Lord, devotees of the Lord, disciples of our acharyas. We get hankering to know about pastimes of Krishna and his various incarnations. We want to relish the names of the Lord. So we relish the deities now, not the celebrities, the deities. We relish these amazing acharyas and preachers that we have. That's my celebrities now, not the celebrities of this world, right? So so that is that's how we can change our taste. Okay, Haribol, let's do a pastime very, very quick. Interested in hearing a quick story? I'm sorry, the class is going a little bit longer, but I was expecting that for today. Is that okay? Okay, let's do this. Let's take a pastime of the Lord. Actually, it's not a pastime of the Lord, really. It's pastime of his one of his devotees. So we'll take his pastime. This is a devotee called King Prataprudra. Okay, so King Prataprudra was a king of Odisha. Okay, you know the Jagannath Puri is in Odisha, right? So he was the king of Odisha. Has anybody heard of this name before, Prataprudra? Hold on, I can't see anything. Sorry, I keep losing my screen in the middle. Yes, has anybody heard of this name, Prataprudra? When one of the very interesting pastimes of the Lord. Okay, so King Prataprudra was the king. So this pastime will establish what a behavior of a devotee should be, and it will establish what pleases the Lord. It will establish what the proper acharan for a sannyasi is. Okay, so let's focus on these points and see what we learn from this. So King Prataprudra, who was the king of Odisha, and he was residing in Jagannath Puri mostly. And he was also a devotee of the Lord. He was actually a pure devotee of the Lord. And he was serving Jagannath Ji and Jagannath Baldev Subhadra deities in Jagannath Puri. He was facilitating their service as a king very, very nicely. Okay. So he was performing many, many services for them and also managing the kingdom very nicely at the same time. So he was a proper saintly king. And those kings are very hard to find in Kali Yuga, right? This is Kali Yuga. We're talking about Mahaprabhu's time. So it's not like Yudhishthir Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, Amrish Maharaj, who were Raj Rishis, saintly kings. So at that time, this time in Kali Yuga, kings used to be very corrupted. And they were into sense gratification. They were just enjoying their position, their fame. They were exploiting people. They were just into women and wealth and stuff like that, right? Sense gratification mostly. But Prataprudra was not like that. Okay. Now Mahaprabhu took sannyas at 24 years of age and moved to Jagannath Puri. This point everybody knows, right? He moved to Jagannath Puri, right, for his sannyas. So he was residing in Jagannath Puri. And King Prataprudra, being the king and being a devotee, found out that this great sannyasi has come to Puri. And actually, according to Shastric predictions and according to the words of the great Vaishnavas and Brahmans, this sannyasi is not an ordinary sannyasi. He is the supreme personality of Godhead himself. It's Krishna himself. It's my Aradhya Bhagwan, my Jagannath, who has come as Mahaprabhu. So I have to get his darshan. Imagine you are in this human form of life on this earth. You find out that Lord has appeared. Don't you want to get his darshan? Right? You want to get his darshan. So he asked one of the other very senior Vaishnavas, his name was Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya. Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, also another very important story, very different, it's a different story, but Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya had already received mercy of Mahaprabhu. Okay, Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya used to be like a very big jnani and impersonalist kind of spiritualist who did not believe in personal aspect of Lord. But Mahaprabhu, just with his association with Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, had converted his heart and made him into a proper devotee of the Lord. Okay, so Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya has already been delivered by the Lord. He is now from a philosopher, from a jnani, he has become now a bhakta. Okay, so Prataprudra knew that Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya is an important associate of Mahaprabhu. Actually, Mahaprabhu stayed at Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya's house for many days. So he thought, I will request Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, the intimate friend of Mahaprabhu, to get me an audience with Mahaprabhu. This is a king, he wants to get audience with somebody. He should get it, right? So he thought, I will request, this is Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, you can see on the right side, speaking to Mahaprabhu. So he called Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, who did Prataprudra. He said, please, can you get me interview with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? I would like to meet with him. I've heard that he's the supreme personality of Godhead. And he asked this very submissively, very gently. So Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya informed him that actually right now Mahaprabhu has gone on his South India tour to meet his various devotees, to exchange with various disciples, and to visit various temples. Like he was going to visit Ramanand Rai, Gopal Bhatt's family, and so many other people that he's going to meet there. It will be a long tour, and he will come back in a few months. But my dear king, this is not the only problem. The problem in you meeting him is, even if he was here, even let's say Mahaprabhu was here today, or when he comes back, he will still not meet with you. So Prataprudra was very confused. Why would he not meet with me? He said, Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya explained, Mahaprabhu is not like any other sannyasis that you have seen. He's trying to establish the topmost order of sannyas ashram, topmost conduct of sannyas ashram. Sannyas ashram in those days had become very polluted. People were misusing it for their own sense gratification, to fool people, to get some money out of them, to exploit women, for many various things. They were in the sannyasi garb, in sannyasi vesh, they were misusing that ashram. Okay, so he said he will not meet with you, my dear king. So you are a king, you associate with women, you deal with a lot of money, you go on wars, you kill people. Basically, kings are typically very materialistic people who are into enjoying the wealth and women and whatnot, into a lot of sense gratification. So sannyasi being the topmost ashram, Mahaprabhu will not meet with you because of your status, because of you being a king. He will not meet with you. Prataprudra understood this point. He said, okay, I understand that, but I still want to try. My human life will be wasted if Lord is on this earth and I did not get to meet him. I did not get his sakshatkar, his darshan. How is this possible? My life will be wasted. So I at least have to try something. I have to make some effort. Please tell me, what can I do to serve the Lord so that he will agree to give me an audience? So Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya guided him. You just do some services for him. Why don't you, when Mahaprabhu comes back from his South India tour, why don't you arrange a place for him to stay? So Prataprudra agreed, yes, I can do that. I'm a king. I can arrange a place for him to stay. So he approached another devotee called Kashi Mishra and arranged a place for Mahaprabhu in Gambhira to stay. And actually Mahaprabhu stayed in Gambhira for many, many years. So he started doing some services. for Mahaprabhu without Mahaprabhu knowing that king is doing these services. So here we have something to learn from king. Understand that king is such an important man. He's very busy. He's a very famous man. He's an authority. Everybody bows down to him. He's a ruler. He's an administrator. Yet he's very humbly, submissively requesting to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to show him the path of uh, achieving Lord. He's not being arrogant. He's not कि मैं राजा हूं तो उसको मुझे दर्शन देने ही पड़ेंगे, उसको मुझसे मिलना ही पड़ेगा, मैं राजा हूं, मैं बोल रहा हूं. No, he's not using his power to meet the Lord. He knows that Lord will not agree to such display of power and stuff. He's in a proper Vaishnav mood, very submissively, humbly inquiring from another Vaishnava, how can I serve the Lord so he would agree to meet with me one day? So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya tells him, you do these services. I cannot guarantee that he will meet with you because he's an independent Lord. He's Swatantra. He's not Paratantra. He's a Swatantra Bhagwan. Swarat, right? Remember Swarat? He's a Swarat Lord. He will not, he may not agree, but you just be yourself, show your devotional service, and his heart can be gradually melted with love. So, but king said, okay, but still on my behalf, can you at least request to Mahaprabhu? So this is Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya requesting to Mahaprabhu when Mahaprabhu came back from his tour that please Gauranga, please Mahaprabhu, our king of this Odisha, king who is a pure devotee of the Lord, who's serving Jagannath ji very nicely, wants to meet with you. Please, won't you give audience to him? He's not like any other king. He's a very high class Vaishnav. He's doing a lot of services actually for Jagannath ji. Please give him an audience. So very nicely, he wants to benefit the other devotee. He's trying to uplift the other devotee. So another thing to learn here from this story, we always try to uplift each other. We always say good things about each other to the seniors, to the spiritual superiors. We always say good things about each other. Never blaspheme devotees to each other, right? So he's glorifying the king in front of Mahaprabhu. But Mahaprabhu firmly declined. He firmly declined to meet Prataprudra. He said, I will not meet a king. This is against my rules, my conduct that I'm trying to establish. I'm trying to set an example for sannyasis. And this goes against that. So I cannot meet with Prataprudra. And if you insist, then I may have to leave Jagannath Puri. I may have to leave Odisha and go somewhere else. So never ask me this again. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told Prataprudra, let's not do this. Let's not ask him again. Now, another devotee that I mentioned, Ramanand Rai, right? Ramanand Rai, who's none other than Arjun. Who's none other than Arjun. Remember Ramanand Rai Samvad? So Ramanand Rai is somebody Mahaprabhu met on his South India Yatra. So he also came to meet Mahaprabhu, and he also told Mahaprabhu about Prataprudra. Actually, Ramanand Rai was under the employ of Prataprudra. He was one of the ministers in Prataprudra's ministry. So he also informed Mahaprabhu that Prataprudra is actually very nice king. Ever since he knew that I'm in your service, he has even freed me from his service. He has given me freedom from ministry work, and I'm still getting my pension, my salary. But he's given me freedom to just serve you. So Prataprudra is not envious of Ramanand Rai कि इसको तो मर्सी मिल गई रामानंद राय को तो, लेकिन मैं किंग हूँ, मुझे मर्सी नहीं मिल रही. नहीं, he still showed mercy to Ramanand Rai कि आप जाके सेवा करो महाप्रभु की, and you don't have to work in my ministry anymore. So Ramanand Rai explained all this to Mahaprabhu, but Mahaprabhu still declined to meet him. Then later on, Prataprudra wrote a letter to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya again requesting that please, how can I get the interview with Mahaprabhu? So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, do this, come on one of the Sankirtan and watch him and maybe try to do some services there, and let's see what happens. So on one of the Sankirtans, King Prataprudra and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, they stood on rooftop and they were watching the whole Sankirtan team. They came and they danced, and many devotees came from Bengal, like 200 plus devotees. And Prataprudra arranged for their stay, for their prasad and everything. Prataprudra was so submissive that throughout the time they were standing on the rooftop, he was just inquiring about each and every devotee. Ye kaun hai? Ye devotee kaun hai? Ye kaun hai? Tell me about each of them. and he was learning about each of the associates of Mahaprabhu. But he did a lot of seva there. Prataprudra did a lot of seva. He did it hidden. He did not come in front of Mahaprabhu at all. Okay. But he kept doing sevas. Okay. Then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya approached Mahaprabhu again with the letter of Prataprudra. He really wants to meet you. He's a king, and he's very pure devotee. He will give up his life if you don't show him some act of mercy. Can you show him some act of mercy? Nityanand Prabhu also actually appealed to Mahaprabhu. Please show him some act of mercy. So Mahaprabhu said, okay, I'll do two things. I'll give my upper garment to him. उन्होंने अपना upper garment दे दिया. He can keep that. ठीक है? Secondly, I will meet with his son, Prince. Prince से मिल लूंगा मैं, because Prince is not a king, and yet he's a sort of a representative of the king. So by giving mercy to the son, I can also give mercy to the father himself. So let me meet the prince. So he met the prince, Pratapudra's son, and actually embraced him, gave him instructions, showered mercy on him, basically, like how great acharyas do, right? When prince went back to his father, to king embraced him and was very, very glad that at least my son got the mercy, even though I'm still so unfortunate that I'm bereft of the mercy of the Lord. But he kept patiently waiting. Patiently. So you have to see, very, very proper Vaishnava etiquette. He's patiently waiting with determination. All the while, he's making endeavors to serve the Lord, right? This is like Shabri. Shabri is waiting every day for Ram to come. And right? Still doing endeavors every day. Just like all of you. You're chanting every day. Struggling in the chanting, but still chanting every day. It's okay. We'll keep chanting until Lord is pleased with us, right? We'll keep chanting. Then we'll keep serving. So he's serving. He's serving with eagerness and enthusiasm. He's constantly serving Mahaprabhu, even though Mahaprabhu may not know about his services, right? He's constantly serving. He's patiently waiting with determination. He's very enthusiastic about his service. He's very submissive and to the Vaishnavas. He's inquiring about the acharyas, about the Vaishnavas. He has hankering to know about the Lord. Actually, he asks many very, very intelligent questions from Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. I don't have time to go into the details, but he asked many intelligent questions submissively to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya about Mahaprabhu. कि महाप्रभु तो बिल्कुल मतलब ये भगवान है, सब शास्त्रास बोलते हैं. He has all the qualities of the Mahapurush that are listed in the shastras. Then why do some ignorant people are blaspheming him, right? They're not agreeing to this Sankirtan movement. This is one question he asked. Another question he asked was, why are devotees accepting prasadam without washing their hand or without taking a bath first? Why are they breaking the rules of scriptures? Kitna important question, right? Sometimes we get hung on the rules and things. But actually Prataprudra asked him, why are these devotees not following the Vedic customs? हाँ, ये लोग कपड़े क्यों नहीं चेंज करते प्रसाद खाने से पहले, हाथ क्यों नहीं धो रहे? Why are they just accepting it like that? So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya gives very, very important answers and instructions to Prataprudra that this is Mahaprabhu Sankirtan. No rules, regulations of the scriptures apply here. When you're given prasadam, you take prasadam. You honor prasadam. You may not get prasadam by the time you come back from your bath and all this. So of course these are, if we can follow the customs and rules, we should. But just to say that Mahaprabhu Sankirtan movement is transcendental. It is beyond these Vedic customs and things that are just, to keep us in mode of goodness. But when we talk about transcendental things, we can go beyond these, some of these customs. The principle is the highest. Accepting prasadam is the highest, more than your changing clothes or washing your teeth or washing your hands. So he asked many interesting questions like that, and he submissively heard. So this is the mood of Prataprudra. Then what happened? So okay, he embraced his son. He was very happy that at least my son got the mercy. These pictures are showing Mahaprabhu's South India tour when he was gone. This is Ramanand Rai on the left side, on the right side also Ramanand Rai. Now let's see one more thing that happens. Now happens this is Prataprudra standing on the rooftop watching all the Sankirtan happening, right? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya appealing to Mahaprabhu. Now happens what? Okay, so this is very, very nice. Okay, I had some things here which I'll skip. We'll go to the Rath Yatra. Now happens the Rath Yatra. Okay. So Rath Yatra, very, very dear to Mahaprabhu. Very, very dear. Okay. So those of you who understand the Mahaprabhu, this is Radha Rani who's dancing, right? Why? Because Jagannath is Krishna. Krishna is going to Vrindavan, right? So remember that Krishna is going from Kurukshetra, ya fir from Dwarka to Vrindavan, right? So Jagannath Puri represents either you can say Kurukshetra or you can say Dwarka, and Gundicha represents Vrindavan. There, Radha Rani is putting Krishna on the cart, on the chariot, and dragging the chariot from Dwarka to Vrindavan. Come back. This is Radharani, right? So imagine the mood of Radharani. She's ecstatic when Krishna is coming back to Vrindavan. So Rath Yatra is very, very dear to Mahaprabhu, who's in the mood of Radharani. So Rath Yatra started. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya gave a very nice trick to Prataprudra. He said, if you want to please Mahaprabhu, this is your last chance. You do this and Mahaprabhu will be pleased. What do I want you to do? Dress in plain, this is Prataprudra, dress in plain clothes. Hema Mataji, here comes your Sohini Seva. Do the Sohini Seva in front of Jagannathji's cart. Okay. Take a broom and just clean in front of the cart. Dress in plain clothes so Mahaprabhu cannot recognize you as king. Until you are a king, he will not give you his mercy. Once he sees you as a devotee, as a servant, he will give you his mercy. So proper instruction given by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and Prataprudra carried it out verbatim. Okay. He said also another thing, recite Srimad Bhagavatam to Mahaprabhu. So the things that will melt the heart of Mahaprabhu is you serving, you reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, and basically serving the Lord and the devotees. Do all these things and Mahaprabhu will be pleased. So Prataprudra took a broom. Rath Yatra started. He started cleaning in front of Jagannath's cart. That is what is done, right? Some people clean in front of the cart as it is going. Now, there are dance parties, right? There are 2 Sankirtan parties on the left side of the cart, 2 Sankirtan parties on the right side of the cart, 2 Sankirtan parties in the front of the cart, and 1 in the back. So total 7 parties are dancing, okay? 7 Sankirtan parties, each complete with mridang, kartal, dancing, chanting of the holy names, singing of the bhajans, lot of ecstatic, mellows going on right now. And Mahaprabhu is dancing in all these parties. Front may be, back may be, side may be. Each party is thinking, each group of devotees is thinking Mahaprabhu is just in our party. He's just dancing in our party. The other party is thinking he's playing mridang in our party. Tisra soch raha he's just playing kartal in our party. Chautha soch raha he's just singing in our party. So everybody's thinking that he's in ours, but he's in every party. He's dancing all around the cart. He's singing, he's playing drums, he's playing kartal, he's jumping. And in this ecstatic mood, Mahaprabhu then finally collapsed. He collapsed in front of the cart. He collapsed and fell down. And he fell down right where Prataprudra was cleaning. So Prataprudra immediately, bent down, lifted him, right? And immediately revived him. All devotees gathered and revived him. And Mahaprabhu again started, dancing and chanting. But basically, he had this very brief exchange with Mahaprabhu. Finally, the yatra stopped. Yatra finished in Gundicha. Okay, Jagannath Ji has reached. Now, Mahaprabhu was resting in a garden, and Prataprudra, you see, in plain clothes, not in his kingly royal dress. He's in plain clothes. He went, and Mahaprabhu is resting with his eyes closed. He started massaging the feet of the Lord. He took permission from the disciples, the devotees that were standing around. He took permission. Everybody was in favor of Prataprudra, right? Everybody was appealing to Mahaprabhu for Prataprudra. Everybody. Sabne bola. Ramanand Rai ne bola, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya ne bola, Nityanand Prabhu ne bola कि please king से मिल लो, वो बहुत अच्छे devotee हैं. So everybody was in favor. So जब उन्होंने देखा कि yes, this is the chance for Prataprudra to get mercy, everybody agreed. So this is, the association of devotees. They will uplift you. They'll take you back to God. They'll make you clean up. They'll clean you up. They'll make you in such a way that all those things that are not appealing to the Lord will be now, they'll make you appealing. कि इसकी सारी सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन खत्म कर दो, उसकी रॉयल ड्रेस खत्म करके उसको दे पुट हिम इन वैष्णव ड्रेस, राइट? टेक द क्राउन अवे. ऑल दीस थिंग्स आर नॉट अपीलिंग टू द लॉर्ड. ऑल दिस शो ऑफ लॉर्डशिप, किंगशिप is not appealing to the Lord. Become a humble servant. Serve, clean in front of the cart. All these instructions given by Vaishnavas only. So they made him, जैसे clean करके ना, जैसे बच्चा ऐसे गंदा होता है, right? तो नानी क्या करती है, उसको क्लीन वगैरह करके नहला के फिर माँ बाप के सामने लाती है, राइट. सो ऐसे क्लीन करके एकदम उसका डायपर चेंज करके एंड नए क्लोथ्स डाल के एंड बैथ दे के, राइट, एकदम फ्रेश फ्रेग्रेंस आ रही है. So from a king who was reeking of, material attachments and sense gratification, now he's become a high class Vaishnav who's serving Jagannath ji in front of the cart. He's cleaning and who is, now going to recite some verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. And guess what verse he recites? He recites the highest mood of gopis. He recites the Gopi Geet. So he starts singing from the first verse. Jayati tedikam janmana vraja shrayate indira shashwadatrahi daita drishatam dikshutavakas tvaidrita savas tvam vichinvate. He starts from here. And then by the time he goes to this verse, ninth verse, Tav Kathamritam. Tav Kathamritam Tapt Jivanam Kavibiriditam Kalmashapaham Shravana Mangalam Srimadattatam Ubigrinanti Ye Bhurida Jana. जैसे ninth verse of Gopi Geet पे पहुंचे Prataprudra, Mahaprabhu opened his eyes and Mahaprabhu, and it's said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Tav Kathamritam Shloka Raja Ye Padila Uti Prema Veshe Prabhu Alingana Kaila. So when he heard this verse, ninth verse, the Tav Kathamritam Shloka, when he heard, Tav Kathamritam Shloka, Raja ye padila, जैसे राजा ने ये recite किया, उठी प्रेमा वेश में उठ गई. He was listening to the Gopi Geet and he woke up. Alingana Kaila. As soon as the king recited the verse Tav Kathamritam, the Lord arose in ecstatic love and embraced him. So this verse, we should sometimes read these verses of Gopi Geet. Very, very nectarian. Tav Kathamritam verse basically says that your katha is amrit, your pastimes are amrit, tapt jeevnam. Otherwise, this world, this life is tapt, this life is burning in the fire of material existence. But your katha is what gives the sheetalta, the anand, the amrit to this life. Kavi biriditam kalmashapam. And the kavis, the great devotees, like to sing these kathas. Shravan Mangalam, listening to them is auspicious. Bhuvi Grinantiye Bhurida Janan. Such merciful devotees are spreading this nectar of Harikatha all around the world. They're most munificent. So this Tav Kathamritam Shloka, as soon as Prataprudra recited, Prabhu woke up. Mahaprabhu woke up. So what did he say? Mahaprabhu said, Raja kahe ami tomar dasera nudas bhritera bhrityakara ei mora ash. So he then asked for mercy of Mahaprabhu. Now Mahaprabhu is pretending, I don't know that this is king. Okay, he is reciprocating to him as a devotee, right? But he knows, he knows, of course, he's Krishna. He knows that this is king. But वो क्या बोल रहे हैं? राजा क्या बोल रहे हैं? Ami tomar daser anudas. I'm the servant of your servants. Bhrityera bhrityakara. He's not saying कि मुझे अपनी service में लगाओ. Put me in the service of your servants. Ei mora ash. यही मेरी आशा है. So in this way, he received the mercy of the Lord. Lord reciprocated with him. He embraced him. He gave him instructions. They exchanged more verses together, and he spent some time with him. And all the devotees that were standing around, they were so joyous that finally, this devotee got the mercy. This Prataprudra got the mercy of the Lord. It's a very joyous occasion when one more soul can be connected to the Lord, right? In this regard, some other verses are, the servant mood says, Chaitanya Radas Mui, Chaitanya Radas Mui, Tan Radasera Das. Again, servant of the servant mood. Chaitanya Gosai Lila, Amritera Dhara, Sarve Indriya Tripta Hoye, Shravane Ahar. तो चैतन्य की, महाप्रभु की ये एक पास टाइम था, but ऐसे बहुत सारे पास टाइम्स हैं. चैतन्य चरितामृत is full of these pastimes and they're full of nectar. And our senses can get completely satisfied by hearing and glorifying these pastimes. सर्व इंद्रिया तृप्त होए श्रवणे आहार. इनका आहार करना चाहिए, इनको ingest करना चाहिए इन pastimes को. So that is why we should all, this we talked about already. Some more pastimes you can see in the pictures. Many pastimes in the Bal Leela, in the Grahastha Leela, in the Sannyas Leela of Mahaprabhu that happens. Many very, very wonderful pastimes. And they're all in this book called Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Prabhupada took great pains to write this. So any of you who don't have, this is the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's easy read. It's not very difficult. Nobody, I mean, nobody, unfortunately, I hope, should die without reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's a very, it's nectarian, right? So somebody asked Prabhupada that, what is your favorite Bengali sweet? You are a Bengali man. What do you like? Do you like Sandesh or do you like Rasgulla? He said, no, I like Chaitanya Charitamrita. That is my favorite Bengali sweet. When he docked that Jaldut, when he was traveling aboard, people warned him, "Oh, old man, you will die on the ship. It's such a long journey. You're so frail. You're so weak. You're 70 years old. You will die on the ship. Why are you taking this journey? It is fruitless." So Prabhupada said, I know all this. I know all this, but I have my shelter. I have my satisfaction. I know this journey will be troublesome, but my only satisfaction, my only shelter is Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he took Chaitanya Charitamrita with him on board of Jalduta and was reading it. He will not eat any of the food there on the ship because it was contaminated food. So he would just fast and just keep reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then when time came to translate this Chaitanya Charitamrita, this translation was completed very, very quickly. Like within a year, he completed translation of all three, because he said that, actually not him, I think Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj said that if all the scriptures in this world are lost, but Chaitanya Charitamrita remains, then nothing is lost. Because Chaitanya Charitamrita, when you start reading, you will see it has all the important verses of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and various Goswami literatures as well. So he said, if you can preserve Chaitanya Charitamrita, then nothing is lost. So actually, Prabhupada stopped the translation of Bhagavatam to translate Chaitanya Charitamrita. And there was such a huge, मतलब इतना होड़ हो गई शुरू कि let's transcribe it, let's translate it, let's paint pictures. People were painting day and night. एक paint करता था, वो थक जाता था. He'll paint for many hours. They'll paint pictures, and then he'll get tired. Then the next painter will finish that painting. So these paintings you cannot even attribute to one painter because they've been painted by multiple painters. चैतन्य चरितमृत की पेंटिंग्स, दे हैव बीन पेंटेड बाय मल्टीपल पेंटर्स, क्योंकि काम रुकता नहीं था, क्योंकि प्रभुपाद ने आज्ञा दी है कि इन दीज मेनी मंथ्स द बुक नीड्स टू बी प्रिंटेड. So they are not going to defy the order of their spiritual master. So and by Prabhupada's mercy, we have this Chaitanya Charitamrita in English language, and actually this is also predicted. Mahaprabhu said, यदि पापी छड़ी धर्मा दूर देशे जाए, मोरा सेनापति भक्त जाइबे तथाए. तो कौन है सेनापति भक्त of Krishna, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Prabhupada, right? So Mahaprabhu said, यदि पापी छड़ी देश धर्मा, जैसे हम लोग धर्म छोड़ के दूर देशे जाए, अपने देश से दूर देश आ गए, दूर देश से जाए, मोरा सेनापति भक्त जाइबे तथाए. तो my भक्त will come, who will spread my glories and names. And then it is said, पृथ्वी ते आचेयता नगर आदि ग्राम, सर्वत्र प्रचार हाइबे मोरा नाम. महाप्रभु सेड कि सारी दुनिया में मेरा नाम का प्रचार होगा. किसी भी नगर और गांव में जाओगे, पृथ्वी ते आचे यता नगर आदि ग्राम, सर्वत्र प्रचार हाइबे मोरा नाम. सर्वत्र, not India, not Bengal, not Vrindavan, not Puri, the whole world, each and every town and village of this world, sarvatra prachar haibe moran. So this is this glorious Sankirtan movement of Mahaprabhu and Mahima of Mahaprabhu. I hope everybody understood what we talked about. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Amrit ki jai. Okay, I think we have exceeded a lot of time, so we may not even have time to discuss or read Shikshashtakam prayers. If anybody wants to stick around, we can just sing it quickly. Or we can take questions. Either way is fine with me. Questions, realizations, understandings. Okay, who wants to share? Let's see who. Ravi Prabhu had texted before that. I don't know when was that text sent.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji. If time permits, I can share for a few
Yes,
minutes.
Prabhuji, please share.
Hare Krishna devotees. Mataji, I was reflecting on this appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu since we took the first class 2 weeks back. And I was trying to kind of use my information and logic and everything. Like, why did God come 536 years back again in Kali Yuga? So, and then I asked this question to some Sanjan devotee also. So I just wanted to share this. This may not sound perfectly right, or it may be incomplete that I have so far gathered myself. But I was thinking like when Krishna came in the Dwapar Yuga, which was 5,000 years back, that time Dharma was already to a point that it was going to be completely gone. So he came to establish the Dharma again, and he suggested certain things to be done. And I think the deity worship was the main recommendation. But in the time things started getting dirty, and it was getting misused, and Brahmana actually abused a lot of lower caste, and they basically did not understand the whole purpose of division of the Brahman and Kshatriya and the Vaishya and Sudra, and they misused the whole system. And it became to a point that God had to come again as a Buddha, Lord Buddha, and he said, okay, stop all these rituals, stop all these things that you guys are doing on the name of Dharma and in the God. And only thing I want you all to do is just sit down and meditate on your own breathing, which is known as Vipassana, and which was given like 2,500 years back. So and since I have experienced myself the Vipassana technique, is a very simple technique that anybody can do it, and it just takes about 10 days of a training where you will actually experience the benefit of this technique, where you can control your mind and meditate for at least minimum 1 hour to 2 hours. So then I reflected, then why did he come again when he already gave a very simple thing and came as a Buddha, and he said, okay, don't do any of rituals which I told you before, and just sit down and do this meditation. You don't need any Brahman, you don't need anybody. Just sit down and just meditate on your own breathing, which you always have it. You will always lose the breathing when you will die. And so there's no paraphernalia needed, no priest needed, nothing was needed. So I was thinking, like, why did he come again? Then 536 years back again. So I asked this to senior devotee, and again gave me the answer what you gave, like internal region and the external region. Then I put my logic again in it, and I thought maybe Krishna wanted that, okay, now I have given them, and I made them free from all these rituals.
So, Prabhuji, what is the answer you got from the devotees? Let's not speculate, but what is the answer that you got from the senior devotees? I want to hear
Mataji,
that.
No straight answer, Mataji. The same thing, 3 external and 3 internal regions.
Okay.
So then just a couple of more lines, Mataji. I won't take much time. Then I thought that maybe the Prabhu wanted to come again and say, okay, now again, I don't want you to get engaged in any kind of ritualistic. And so there was no rules, no regulation. Just go ahead and start chanting the Harinam. And that way you will be basically get to the Bhakti Yoga, because Bhakti Yoga is the ultimate path to meet Krishna. No matter whether you meditate on your own breathing or not, if there's no bhakti in that, then you are not going to reach the Krishna. You can only just get the liberation and maybe just get 2 parts of it, which is Sat and Chit, but not you won't get the Anand. To get the Anand, you have to go to the Krishna's place. So then he came 536 years back again. This is again my theory, and I don't know how much I'm making sense. But he said, okay, let's just come and give the people the Bhakti Yoga.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So yes, Prabhuji, this is the knowledge from the Bhagavad Gita. So whenever we say, we speak from Bhagavad Gita, just like you are saying. So this is knowledge given in Bhagavad Gita, like you are saying correctly.
So
Bhakti Yoga is the highest, and
yes, Prabhuji.
and God comes to establish dharma. Yes.
Krishna says that, right? Bhaktya mam abhijanati. So this is not just your logic. This is Bhagavad Gita knowledge that only by devotion I can be understood, not by any other path.
Yes, I mean, I'm using the Bhagavad Gita knowledge. That's what I'm putting my brain here and logic is okay. That is what I was like thinking, like if he had to just come and get the experience of Radharani and get the experience of Bhakta, he should have just done without coming here as a, begrudging a birth. There must be some other big reason to come. So that's what I was thinking. When my senior devotee Guruji said that, no, I mean, it's again, everything is like love. Like we don't have to feed Krishna every day because he is the Virat, he's a Swarat. But still out of love, we feed him because we know that, we have to feed him and we have to offer him the prasad. But when you think logically, yes, he doesn't need our food. He is the Swarat person. He's independent. He is the absolute. So that is what he came for, internal region and external region. Yes, Harinam Sankirtan. Also, he said that Harinam could have been spread by anybody. And actually, he said, Prabhupada, our Swami, our Guru, he is the one who actually spread the Harinam Sankirtan. Because for a while, he spread, it was in the Bengal only. It didn't come all over the world. It was the Prabhupada who brought the Harinam all over the world. And now we are enjoying the big family. So he said the internal region was the main region, external Harinam Sankirtan and giving all this bhakti could have been done by any of his associate. So I thought, okay. So I took that answer and then you basically explained everything so well, Mataji. It makes sense now that why did he come not only to spread the Harinam, but also to experience the mood of the pure devotee, which is Srimati Radharani. That's all, Mataji, I have to say. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for sharing.
Hare Krishna.
So, lot of times we try to say कि भगवान ने ऐसा क्यों किया, वैसा क्यों किया, ये पास टाइम ऐसे हो सकता था, वैसे हो सकता था, भगवान राम को ब्रिज बनाने की क्या जरूरत थी, ब्रिज तो वैसे ही तो चाल सकते हैं, वो तो सुप्रीम पर्सनालिटी ऑफ गॉडेड है, सीता कैसे कैप्चर हो गई, उनको पता नहीं चला कि वो जो डियर है वो मारीच है, ऐसे बहुत सारी चीजें हम लोग we try to understand with our own limited understanding. The main thing you have to understand is that Lord is inconceivable, meaning he cannot be understood. So with our limited perception, he cannot be understood. We have very, very brief understanding. Now Mahaprabhu comes once in a day of Brahma per cycle every day, right? Every time he comes in the same yuga as Krishna comes, in the same cycle of Chatur Yuga when Krishna comes. And the main reason of Lord's pastimes is he wants to exchange some affection and relationships with his devotees. That is the main reason, right? Whatever pastime he does, whether it's Krishna's pastime, Lord Ram's pastime, Narsingadev's pastime, he wants to exchange various relationships with his devotees. So that is number one point that I want everybody to understand. That is why he comes. Otherwise, yes, like you said, anybody can establish Sankirtan movement. Hare Krishna Mahamantra was going on before that. Madhvendra Puri was so advanced. He could have spread the Hare Krishna Mahamantra himself, Madhvendra Puri or Ishwar Puri. Why the need of Mahaprabhu? But Mahaprabhu, he's an independent Lord. So he can do whatever he wants. He can come and go. This is his world. He can come and go whenever he wants. So he's inconceivable. He's Swarat. We cannot understand which pastimes he wants to do himself, which he wants his devotees to do, his disciples to do. Some services he does himself. Some services he leaves for us, like building the bridge. He wants Vanars to make that effort and make that bridge. Otherwise, he can just go. But no, he wants to do this. So in this way, some services are given to us. Some services he wants to, in mood of exchanging relationships, he does himself. So inconceivable nature of Lord and his independent nature, we should really understand. We cannot really question कि आपने ऐसा क्यों किया, वैसा क्यों किया. Second point I'd like to share is very, very valid question कि अभी तो 5000 साल पहले तो आए थे, फिर 500 साल पहले दोबारा क्यों आना पड़ा? क्योंकि धर्मा का constantly decline होते रहता है. Even when Krishna left, immediately after there were bad omens, bad signs. Even in the reign of Parikshit Maharaj, things had started to decline, right? So that is why the sages of Naimisharanya started doing the 1000-year yagya, and Srimad Bhagavatam had to appear. Srimad Bhagavatam is also Krishna. So Srimad Bhagavatam had to appear. So Krishna is actually manifested in many forms, many times, because dharma is established, next day it again declines, right? It's like day and night, it keeps going. So every day, जैसे आपको खाना खाना पड़ता है, sometimes खाना आप खुद खाते हो, sometimes आपको माँ खिलाती है. So when Lord appears, Lord is feeding you the khana. Sometimes you are eating it from other disciples and acharyas like Prabhupada, who are also representatives of the Lord, and constantly, अभी भी हम क्या करें, प्रभुपाद चले गए तो फिर धर्मा डिक्लाइन हो गया था फिर से, but फिर से people have taken up the movement again and again, spreading it, right? 10,000 years later, again dharma will decline. So again something else will happen. So constantly there is a struggle between dharma and adharma, and dharma needs to be constantly re-established over and over again, either by various incarnations of the Lord, or Lord himself comes, like you said, Mahaprabhu, Buddha, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Harinam itself is there as Krishna himself, or by his disciples, his devotees, Krishna establishes dharma, like with the help of Prabhupada, with the help of Madhvacharya and Ramanujacharya and Madhvendra Puri and six Goswamis and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and all these great acharyas, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. There was again a decline, like Prabhuji said, just before Bhakti Vinod Thakur, there was again a decline in dharma. And then Bhakti Vinod Thakur, using his position and his authority, cut down all those sampradayas that were so prevalent, that were spreading wrong philosophies of Mahaprabhu actually. So even after Mahaprabhu dharma declined, what to say of after Krishna? Even after Mahaprabhu dharma declined, so much that Bhakti Vinod Thakur is called a seventh Goswami, because he established it again. And so then it was carried by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj and Prabhupada. Then once Prabhupada left, whenever a great Acharya leaves, whenever Krishna leaves, there is always a decline. There is always a decline, because there was so much light before, and suddenly that light has left, and suddenly there is darkness again. So then the devotees, the disciples gather around to establish the dharma again. So that is what we're doing, trying to keep the dharma establishing every day. We have to do, this is an everyday job. This is not some once in a while. When Lord comes, it's like the clouds are pouring rain. But what we are doing is we are taking everybody to the well, कि यहाँ से पानी पियो. लेकिन जब भगवान आते हैं तो सबको पानी फ्रीली मिल रहा होता है, उस टाइम बहुत दया बरस रही होती है. हम क्या कर रहे हैं कि अभी सूखा पड़ा है और भगवान की तरफ लेके जा रहे हैं, towards the well where there is all the water. So we have to keep taking people towards the well, because adharma, anything that is going downwards, will always be prominent. Like gravity will always pull you down. So adharma will always pull you down. So dharma has to be established every day. Every day you have to get up and chant. Every day you have to read. Every day you have to fortify yourself with Srimad Bhagavatam and with association of devotees. Every day you have to eat prasadam, right? So dharma, even in our minute life, has to be established every day. What to speak of eras or decades. So these jobs can be done by sometimes Lord, sometimes by his devotees. Okay, I hope that answers. Would anybody else like to share anything about Mahaprabhu? Nita Mataji, I think you had raised your hand. I don't know if it was a previous question या फिर कुछ और था.
प्रीवियस क्वेश्चन का ही था माता जी, लेकिन अभी ये वाले जो टॉपिक पे धर्म एंड अधर्म के बीच में जो वॉर होता रहता है अभी भी टग ऑफ वॉर काइंड ऑफ सिचुएशंस, राइट? एवरी डे वी आर लाइक काइंड ऑफ ट्राइंग टू गेट ऑन द करेक्ट पाथ, फिर वापस चले जाते हैं, डिविएट हो जाते हैं. बट ये डेविएशन ही क्यों है? मतलब ऐसे मेरे मन में अभी जैसे अभी बात हो रही थी, आप लोगों की कन्वर्सेशन सुन के ऐसे मन में सवाल उठ रहे थे कि डेविएशन क्यों हो रही है. इज इट बिकॉज ऑफ द मटेरियल नेचर ऑफ दिस वर्ल्ड? स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड में ही एक चीज एब्सोल्यूट हो सकता है, मटेरियल वर्ल्ड में नहीं हो सकता है, इसलिए हर बार डेविएशन, हर रिश्ते में डेविएशन, लाइक एनीथिंग दैट वी टॉक अबाउट देयर इज अ डेविएशन. सो व्हाई इज इट? बिकॉज कि ये लिखा ही हुआ
Yes, Madhuri. Yes, you gave the answer yourself. This is the nature of this material world. अगर कीचड़ में गिरोगे तो कीचड़ तो लगेगा ही ना. So अगर एक गोल्ड रिंग कीचड़ में गिरती है और उसके ऊपर कीचड़ लग जाता है, तो ये नहीं कह सकते कीचड़ कैसे लग गया. Every day उसको क्लीन करना पड़ेगा. So until we are the spiritual entities trapped in this material world, the material, it is very hard to be spiritual. The material nature will be very heavy on us. Material contamination will be very heavy on us. That is the nature of this material world. But once we go back to the spiritual world, that is our place. That is where we belong. It's like fish inside the water. Then we get complete bliss, relief, joy, happiness, love, everything. So things become absolute there. But on earth, the fish struggles because that is not its place. So we're out of place, out of this is not norm for us. This is incompatible for us. This condition of material situation is not consumable by us. ऐसी चीज खा रहे हैं, ऐसी चीज ले रहे हैं जो हमारे को ठीक नहीं है हमारे लिए. It's not consumable by us. It poisons us. So since we are in this body for a certain amount of time, we have to every day take antidote. Every day clean that kichad off us. So that is the problem.
Thank you so much. कई बार दिमाग में आपने बाहर निकलवा लिया. So thank you so much.
Yes, Mahaprabhu. Or koi realization, very nice realization that everybody is having. The question that Ravi Prabhu raised, very, very nice question. I've had that question many times. And so did Anita Mataji. So very nice realizations. It's good to churn this knowledge in the heart and see what comes out.
And the Prabhuji ne process kiya, that is the right process to ask seated devotees that Prabhuji guy, and how to, what to do when we go on, and meet devotees in different places. Prabhuji went on a vacation, he met so many other people, devotees, and he asked them, he didn't waste time talking about general things. He asked them these wonderful questions. So that is wonderful. That is how devotee should behave. So that's perfect.
Yes. Okay. Anybody else? Apni, Vedahi, Hima Mataji? Few people I think left already, so we can also close. Since we are late, I think kids I know have already chanted this morning. We can chant on our own. Please read the Shikshashtakam verses, and we can recite next time if time permits, as instead of song. Okay. Rebol. Okay.
That is a good idea, Mataji.
Okay. Chaitanya Charitamrita and Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna.